You ever have someone just get stuck in your head? It happens to literally all of us. You find yourself thinking about them, kind of on a loop, and it can be confusing, maybe even a little unsettling. So let's get into this, because what's happening is probably way deeper and more meaningful than you think.
This idea right here, this is really the heart of our entire explainer. And, this sentence often hits hard because, from a psychological standpoint, it's surprisingly accurate. It suggests that these persistent thoughts, well, they aren't just random mental noise. They're actually a signal.
So, we're going to pull back the curtain on this whole mental process. Let's explore the mechanics behind why someone takes up so much real estate in your mind and what your brain is actually trying to tell you. Okay, so it really boils down to four main psychological drivers. And let me be clear, this isn't about obsession or that there's something wrong with you. Nope. This is about how your mind is wired to process the world and, well, your relationships with other people. First up, what we call emotional unfinished business. Some psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Basically, our brains are natural storytellers, and they absolutely hate an incomplete story. If a conversation or a relationship feels unresolved, your mind is going to keep replaying it, trying to find some kind of satisfying ending. So, how do you know if this is what's going on with you? Well, the feeling is usually one of these three things. Was there something important that was left unsaid? Is the status of your relationship totally unclear? Or does the whole situation just feel, well, unresolved? If you're nodding along, that's your brain flagging it for you.
All right, this second reason is just fascinating. It's about our incredible and often totally subconscious sensitivity. We can pick up on the emotional state of other people, even when they're not right there in front of us or telling us that something's wrong.
Just think back for a second. Did you notice a subtle shift in them? Maybe they got a little more distant or quiet? Or maybe there was just a moment where they seemed off, not quite themselves. Your mind totally registered that emotional data point, and it's replaying it because it sensed something wasn't quite right. And that leads us right into our capacity for empathy. If you're an empathetic person, your brain's mirror neurons are probably working overtime. You don't just see someone struggle. On some level, you actually feel it. Their distress can literally trigger your own nervous system to stay on high alert. And that state of high alert, it probably sounds a lot like this. These questions start looping over and over in your head. But here's the really crucial part. This is not a sign of weakness or anxiety. It's a sign that your natural, healthy attachment system is online and doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is to care. Which brings us to our fourth and maybe the most subtle reason of all, projection. This is when the other person becomes a kind of screen, a screen that your mind projects its own unresolved feelings onto. So it becomes less about them and a whole lot more about you. So here's how that works. You might be focused on their struggle, like maybe you're worried about how lonely they seem, because it's actually mirroring a feeling of loneliness that you're carrying yourself. Your mind is basically using them as a symbol to get your attention about your own emotional state. Okay, so we've looked at the why. Now let's pivot. Let's talk about the real meaning behind it all. We're going to reframe what this persistent thought is actually trying to say to you. This is probably the single most important shift in perspective you can make. You're not just stuck on a person. Your mind is basically tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, pay attention. There's an emotionally significant feeling here that we haven't dealt with yet. The person, they're just the messenger. So what is this something that matters so much? Well, it could be any of these really powerful emotions. It might be genuine concern for them, sure. Or maybe it's unresolved guilt you're feeling. It could be lingering love, a sense of loss, or even just plain old curiosity that never got closure. Now, before we go any further, it is super important that we get grounded and separate fact from fiction. These thoughts can create a ton of anxiety, so let's get crystal clear on what they do mean, and more importantly, what they do not mean. All right, listen up, because this is the big one. Just because you're thinking about them, it does not mean they're thinking about you. It's not some kind of psychic command that you have to act or that you're responsible for fixing their problems. All it means is that your mind registered something as important or distressing and it's still processing. That's it. Simple as that. Okay, so understanding all this is the first step, but what do you actually do about it? The goal here isn't to just violently shut the thoughts down. It's about engaging with them through a gentle process that, believe it or not, actually leads to clarity. Here is a simple 3-step framework. And it's not about fighting or forcing anything, it's all about being curious and a little compassionate with your own mind. It's just ask, name, and allow. Let's break that down real quick.
First, you just ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now when I think of them? Then you give that feeling a name. Is it sadness, regret, longing? And this is the key part, you just allow it to be there. Just feel it in your body without immediately jumping into a whole story about what it means or what you have to do next.
And this is exactly why that process works. We so often think we need to figure things out with our logical brain before we can feel better. But psychologically, it's usually the other way around. You have to allow the emotion to be processed first. Clarity is the result of that process, not the thing that starts it.
So as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final, gentle insight, a new way to think about the next time someone pops into your head and decides to, stick around for a while. That person isn't there to haunt you. They are there as an invitation from your own mind. It's an invitation to understand a part of yourself more deeply, to finally feel an emotion you might have been avoiding, or to begin this slow, safe process of letting something go. So the next time this happens, instead of asking, "Ugh, why can't I stop thinking about them?" try asking yourself this instead. What is this thought gently inviting me to pay attention to inside myself? The answer to that question just might be the key to finding some peace.